Dave Patrie of Galena Benchmark Engineering. Appreciate you sitting down with me.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome. So give me a background on how you what path led you to Sun Valley. How'd you get here?
Oh my goodness, it's a long and winding path, so I'll try to straighten it out a little bit. Early 20s, ski bum. My now wife, then girlfriend, and I decided we needed to get real jobs. Left Steamboat Springs where we met. Got real jobs in Boston, and we're there for less than a year when we said, okay, first one that finds a real job in a mountain town, we're moving there. So that's the straight path from Sun Valley.
Who found the real job?
She found the real job.
Okay.
Marketron. Okay. Which is still around, but Marketron was very different in those days, and they hired like 50 people.
Okay.
Yeah. So
from Boston to here.
From Boston to here.
And how long's it been?
That was 1998. So we got to do a little bit of math, and we're looking at 25 plus.
Okay.
26.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you know this place was home? Had you been before?
I had visited once before.
Okay.
It just became home. I would say it felt right.
Yeah. I think that's kind of how it is for a lot of us, right? It just kind of has that feeling of, this is it.
Yep.
This is where we want to be.
Yeah. It was the mountain town, and here's where we're going to make our lives.
Yeah. So before we dive into the work that your company does and how that kind of mixes with real estate and impacts people's lives, how does living here influence the way you and your team work at Galena Benchmark?
Obviously, when you've got professionals, surveyors, engineers, you want to try to keep them. It's hard to find professionals in a small resort town. So we try to recruit locally. It doesn't really work out very well when we bring in an engineer or a surveyor from somewhere else. They usually don't stay because they didn't want to be here. And I think you need to want to be here to make it work here.
Yeah.
So that affects how we recruit, but it also affects how we work. And so we have flexible work schedule. If it's a powder day, you're not going to find anybody in the office in the winter, at least in the morning, but you will find us here after dark.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, we have to recognize why people are here. And it's usually, everybody's got to work to earn a living, but we're also here to recreate.
Yeah. So it's a lifestyle piece just as much as anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're sitting here the day after the first day of the mountain. Did you punch your first ticket yesterday?
I did not, but we do share a company pass, and two people were able to punch their ticket.
They got it
with the company pass. Yep.
Any first chairs?
No first chairs.
No first chairs.
No first chairs. Don't those go to the teenagers?
I think we had somebody that my daughter knows who's in high school, got to the parking lot at 10 or 11 p.m. the night before, camped out to be the first chair.
I haven't seen.
Don't know if it actually happened, but
I've heard similar stories.
Yep. You got to be dedicated.
Yep.
All right. So for people who don't know what you guys do here, what does your firm do?
Top headline, civil engineering and land surveying.
Okay.
That can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. But really, the way I like to explain it is when you see a development project, by the time it starts to go vertical, we've been in and out already. Okay. We've already done all our stuff. So a lot of utility infrastructure, roads, everything from grade and below.
Yeah.
Water, sewer, power, cable, getting all of those things in so that when you flush the toilet or turn the faucet, things flow the right way.
Yeah.
And then the land surveying comes even before the engineering, being here in the mountains when you're not flat on the valley floor, got a lot of grades to work with. So we do a lot of topographical mapping, those types of things to help architects and landscape architects design good looking homes and landscapes.
Yeah. Is that a unique piece to this valley is the topography? And we also, I mean, the hillside ordinances and things like that. I mean, we drive to other
Yeah.
mountain towns. There's a lot less, we have a lot less development. Our valley is tighter than others. Uh, but is it unique doing your job here compared to other areas?
Not really when it comes to surveying per se, because we do stay off the hillsides. But when it does come to the land use planning component of what we do and the permitting and the entitlements,
Yeah.
that does have an impact, right? Because it makes us unique, and it's not anything that I think anybody in this town wants to change.
Yeah.
We stay off our hillsides, and we keep them natural. And so that does present some challenges with trade-offs and what you do on the valley floors in exchange for keeping the hillsides native.
Yeah. Touch on that. How does that impact what is developed on the valley floor?
It puts pressure on density and cost, I think. And everybody knows we talk about the cost of living here.
Yeah.
Every resort town has a high cost of living. But one of the things that influences us beyond just being a resort is we don't use that land that is on the hillsides. So that makes the stuff that isn't that much more expensive, which you probably know better than I do. So that makes the dirt more valuable, and then people want more density in order to get their return on investment for what they
Yeah.
had to pay for the dirt.
Yeah. How does that work in your industry? So like you sort of touched on, right? It's we have the lifestyle. There's obviously a growth factor that has to be accounted for, and we want to see it. We want to see town grow. We want to see it flourish and have great businesses. But how do you see? How do you balance the growth piece? Does your field have an impact on that?
We do in some instances, right? It's always driven by the owner. Most of our projects, but when it comes to the planning part and the entitlement and new subdivisions, we also do in some environmental engineering component, riparian wetland analysis, those types of things, identifying areas that we probably ought not to build in that may be desirable for, particularly maybe not so much on the commercial end of things, but people on the residential end want to be close to the river, but that might not be the best thing for the river or for some of the hazards that they deal with. And so, we're starting to find, and I think you're probably hearing this in the real estate environment too, is insurance is becoming a huge issue for homeowners.
Insurance is definitely
so whether you're
challenge.
Building in the wildland urban interface with the wildfires, or if you're building close to the river with the floodplain, there can be more appropriate places than others on a piece of land to put a home.
Yeah.
Citing those things comes into that. That's where we come into place.
Yeah.
Helping cite those things.
Okay. And I don't not to get into the insurance world, but it is a good point because it is those costs are going up dramatically. How do you interact with the insurance companies on the front end on some of that stuff?
We don't really. It's just we act as an advisor and consultant when somebody's on the early end of planning something of the local people that have been here, and saying, here's what we're finding 10 years down the line, 15, 20 years down the line. I have a friend that lives in Board Ranch that put her home on the market because her insurance company canceled her fire insurance.
Yeah.
And she has a mortgage, and so she can't self-insure, which means going without insurance.
Yeah.
But her mortgage requires her to have insurance, and she just can't find an underwriter for it.
Yeah, this is a real challenge for sure.
Yeah, so helping people understand those types of things when they build and how to, when you do build in one of those areas that's in that fringe zone, smart things to do to protect your investment when you do it.
Yeah. What do you think surprises people most when they are potentially looking at buying land or looking to begin that development thing? Is there something that you think people are often kind of like taken aback by?
Blaine County has more regulations than a lot of places in the country. So if you're not from California, I think people are surprised to see the number of regulations in Blaine County Code when it comes to siting a home and building it. I don't necessarily think they're all bad. I think they all help make our community what it is. Some of them can be a little overbearing and may make things more expensive. But in general, they're well intentioned.
Yeah.
And it does kind of help us keep the special feeling that we all think we have here.
Yeah.
And I think we're right when we say we have it.
I think so too, and I really think like the interconnection is there's obviously the architecture and the landscape. The fabric of the community it's you, it's me, it's the people, and I think that's the piece that I love sharing on these videos, is highlighting just what makes this place special through the people that are here every single day. So, where do you think real estate and engineering, where do they cross over the most? Where do you think there's overlap in our two fields?
Probably in the planning phase for the most part. Where are good places to develop, and so it depends on whether you're talking about real estate for selling existing homes or real estate for land development. And I know realtors along the spectrum that do specialize in one or the other, or everything in between. So we interact more with the folks that are interested in developing large pieces of land.
Yeah.
Getting the roads in, the infrastructure in, making sure it's safe, avalanche studies, going through avalanche paths and analyzing those types of things to make sure that the future built environment fits in with our current built environment.
How far down the road do you guys look at stuff like that?
Avalanche studies, believe it or not, have a 300-year return period.
Do they really?
Yeah. We don't have, in Europe, that works for them. We don't have 300 years of written history in the United States. So the Swiss people, they try to use the Swiss model for avalanche prediction in the United States, but because we don't have the written history, that doesn't work. So there's a lot of modeling that goes on, and that's a pretty specialized thing. We don't do it ourselves. We're starting to build some more of those skill sets locally, to be able to help put development in the right places. We've seen homes that have been hit by avalanches, and I think we've seen not just hit, we've seen a cabin out Board Ranch again, that got taken down the hill by an avalanche.
Yeah.
So those things are real, but those are that's where we interface. We also interface with trying to value engineer once you've identified where things are. What are the smart things that we can do to keep it sustainable, keep it low maintenance, and build it efficiently and affordable to the greatest extent possible to help mitigate our affordability issue.
Yeah. And I think something that people don't understand is, like, and this is more of the construction world, but it goes back to the regulations you talked about. I mean, there's snow load requirements and certain things that come into play that cost more to do up here than, say, Twin Falls or Boise, or
even North Valley, South Valley have different snow load ratings.
Do they?
Right. Yeah. So and this gets into more architecture and structure than we typically do here, but just you guys might be interested to know that the roof trusses that go on a home in the North Valley have a different snow load rating than the ones that go in the South Valley.
What's that? What's the difference?
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's 200 pounds per square foot in the North Valley, and it might be 150.
Okay.
But it does change the what you order for roof trusses.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Anything you would advise a buyer prior to starting a project or anything like that?
Do your diligence. Read your codes. If you're not good at it, or if you don't like it, find someone that can help you do it.
Okay.
Know what you're getting into before you get so far into it you can't get out.
Yeah. Have you seen that before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
But you can usually get out of anything with enough money.
Yeah.
It just depends. A lot of people will put the money in and see it through to the end. A lot of people pull the plug and say, "This isn't for me."
Yeah. Is there a project that you can think of that you guys kind of helped shape the outcome of, or change potentially?
Um, Trying to think of. There's different road projects where there's been road design, and I would say we probably didn't have too much influence on Main Street. Just the most recent iteration of the last 2 summers of having Main Street closed. We did a lot of construction staking for that. Um, we didn't do the design on it. One of the big firms out of Boise did that for the city of Ketchum and ITD.
Okay.
But where the cross streets came in, those weren't fully developed. And so, say along Fifth Street, where you've got that nice block retaining wall now, where it used to just kind of fall off as you go, if you're heading towards Atkinson's from the west side of Main Street. Realized it was a good time to fix that intersection a little further back from Main Street. Well, there was already stuff being done on Main Street.
Yeah.
So I would say, that was kind of one opportunity where we were able to come in and do some stuff beyond what was originally planned. I really like the design that happened in redesign, and this was maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 years ago, and it was a collaboration with us and Rob King at Landwork Studio, landscape architect, and community library, where they got that really cool sidewalk. And that, I don't know if you remember, but you used to park parallel there, and it was like a 10% side slope grade that went in. So like if you were on the downhill side, your door swung open and hit the sidewalk. If you're on the uphill side,
you couldn't back out in the winter.
No, the door would come down and hit your leg. You had to like hold it open. So we were able to fix that, and Rob did some great stuff on the community library side of things, and then we did the stuff in the right of way.
The library grounds
and
it made
it made a really cool sidewalk design there.
Yeah, we got a great hangout spot for the summer.
Like those are a couple little things. We influence a lot of things. A lot of times architects don't like the way engineers influence them because they're artists and like curvy lines, and engineers like straight lines and are too practical. So a lot of times
that's the yin and the yang there.
Yeah, a lot of what we do is underground, and so you don't see it, and if you don't see it, we did a good job.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think we've already touched on it a little bit, but outside of our zoning and things like that are a little bit more robust here in different regulations, is there anything that people underestimate about doing projects here in the Valley?
There can be a bit of bureaucracy that comes along with the zoning regulations. I think that has been an issue for a lot of project owners, whether they be developers of a commercial project or even just a residential home. So I think maybe that might be one thing. We have some unique characteristics that people probably aren't going to find all that interesting, but being on a riverbed, we got really good draining soil, so we don't need a lot of retention ponds. Like, you get an architect or somebody from Seattle, and they say, "Where's all your retention?" Well, we don't have any. It's the ground. It goes back into the aquifer. So there's little things like that surprise people. That those are really the only things I can think of. Otherwise, building's building.
Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that we should have?
Oh, so many things.
So many things.
So many things. Not really. I feel like we've covered a fair amount of ground.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just the intersection of engineering and surveying and real estate happen at the early ends, and then you guys see it through to the finish. and get people in places.
Yeah.
That once we're long gone.
You guys are the early
So
onset.
you got the continuum here. Like it's maybe I think a lot, if it's a big development, there's probably somebody on the real estate end that's involved from the beginning. But a lot of times, until things start to go vertical, that's when real estate really starts putting their 2 cents in about marketability and those types of things.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
project owners.
Yeah.
So we pass in the night sometimes, but sometimes we pass ships in the day too.
Yeah, just depending on what the project is and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, I appreciate you sitting down with me and talking about that what you guys do here. How can people reach out to you should they need your guys' services?
Use the internet, use the phone book if you know what one is. I think we have our last ad. I think the last physical names and numbers went out this year.
Okay.
And so, but we can easily be found by Googling Galena benchmark engineering. And there's numerous ways to get a hold of us by phone, internet, website. We try not to hide.
Try to be visible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Try to be visible, even though all our stuff's underground.
Yeah. They got to get to you one way or another. Though.
Yep.
All right. I appreciate you sitting down with me and taking some time and talking about.
Hey, it's good fun. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice.